In this lesson, I'd like to show you how to create and use custom actions inside of Acrobat. Now, an action is an automated process of steps that you would normally have to do manually. It's really just a time saver. You could open, save, perform all kinds of actions automatically in a series of steps instead of just running one command at a time using your mouse or the keyboard. This would be similar to a macro that you'd use inside of Excel or Word or say Microsoft Access. The three actions I would like to apply is I'd like to set up some documents with some Bates numbering, which is just some numbering scheme that you can use in the header or the footer of a document. Then I want to set the open options for these documents, and then I want to choose a specific way that I want these documents to be saved. It's going to be all sorts of settings along the way. So there's three actions I want to employ. This will just save me a lot of time having to do this manually each time I want to run this. Now to start this, I'm going to go out to my tools and I'm going to scroll down until I see Action Tools. The Action Wizard, that is. I'm going to click on it. Now the initial screen here says to open a file to enable more tools, but don't know if you're really going to appreciate that. Like to point out that we have two items up here in this toolbar I want to talk about. We have new action and new custom command. A custom command is just one command that you'll execute. An action is basically multiple commands all wrapped into one. So I'm going to come out here and choose new action. And it brings up the create new action dialog. On the left, I see all of the tools that I can use to invoke an action. And I'm going to grab these tools and put them in a certain order over here, and they'll just be executed one at a time, top down, when I run the action. Now the first one I want to employ is the Bates numbering, so that's under Pages. I'll click Pages, I'll scroll down, I see Add Bates numbering. I'm going to click on it, and then to get it over here into my list, I just click that little plus sign there, and it adds the Bates numbering. Now I'm going to adjust the settings, but I want to get all three commands in first, then I'll come back and adjust the settings one by one. The next action I want to employ is how the documents will open, and that's going to be up underneath here in the list on the left under document processing. And if I look down here, there is set open options. I'm going to go ahead and select that and then click the arrow to pop that over. Next, I want to come over here to save and export. So I will come down to save and export, and I just want to save the document and have some settings there on how I want this thing saved. So there are my three actions top down. It's going to do these one at a time for each file that I specify. To start this, I'm going to go up to my Bates numbering. I'll click on it, and I don't want to prompt the user because I want this to be all automated, and I'm going to specify the settings for the Bates numbering. I'll leave the fonts and the margins just the way they are. In the left header text, I'm just going to type in BOR. In the center header text, I want to insert a date, but I'm going to come out here and format the date ahead of time. So I'll pop that in there. I'll click OK, and in the center, I'm going to go ahead and insert the date, and then I'm going to come out to my right header text, and I'm going to insert my Bates numbering. I'm going to have a total of 6 placeholders for the digits. I'm going to start this at the number 1, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And down here in the preview, I can see what the top of each page is going to look like. I'll come down and I'll click OK. So we're finished here. Next, I want to set the open options. I'll click on Set Open Options. I will uncheck Prompt User and click on Specify Settings. I'm going to set this up so I see the bookmarks and the page. This will open up the bookmarks pane, navigation pane on the left-hand side. And what else? Maybe for page layout, I'll come out and choose single page as the view. I'll click OK. And then next I'm going to come out and choose Save. And I will specify settings. And for this setting, I don't want to keep the original file names. I want to take the file name that exists, and when it creates the new file, I want it to put in something like Bates underscore action, so that I can see that these files have the Bates action that has been applied. No other settings are needed out here. I'm going to come out and just click OK, and my three actions are all set to go. Now I'm going to want to go ahead and save this action. So I'm going to click on save, and it's going to ask me for a name. Now, I have some built-in actions that came right out of the box that exist over on the right-hand side. When I name this, this is new actions, it's just going to exist out here in this list. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a name, and I'll just call this Bates action. I can include a description if I want, but I'm not going to do that. I'll just click on save, and now my Bates action shows up right at the top of my list here. So now underneath my action wizard, I'm going to come out and just double click on Bates action. It says, all right, type in or go find the files that you want to use. I'm going to click the drop down arrow here, and I'm going to add a whole folder of files. Notice I could pull a document in from the scanner and it'll run the action on that document. It could pull in a web page and then it'll run the action. Any combined files, I could pull those together and then run the action on the combined files. Or if I have something I've left on the clipboard or copied for whatever reason, I could pull it in and use it there. I'm just going to go ahead and add a whole folder of files. I think I have 5 files in a single folder, or 4 files in a four PDFs I want to pull in. So I'm going to choose folder. I'm going to go out and find these files. And there it is, Bates start. That was from a previous lesson. I have 4 files inside of there. I'm going to click on that and then click OK. And it's all ready to go. I see my 4 files here. I'm going to go ahead and choose Start, and away it goes, working on these files. And then it is completed. Now you can see that I'm on 10-page doc _ Bates, so it went ahead and named it with that Bates that I wanted at the end, and I can see it worked on 10-page doc. Out here was the last one it worked on, so this was the last document, and the Bates numbering starts at 12. And if I take a look out here under my page thumbnails and I go down here to the bottom, I can see that it goes all the way out to page 19, 20, and 21. So it appears that things are working. If I move out to my beginning folder where I had my 4 original files, I can take a look and see that there has been this Bates action applied to the end of the file names. So if I come out and take a look at these, Dave's Deadly Animals and the Bates action, if I go ahead and double click on Dave's Deadly Animal Bates action to open it up, you can see it opens up with the bookmarks pane open, and I can see my items up at the top there. So it appears that that guy is working okay. I come back out, try another one. I'll choose the European Expenses Bates action. It opens up, and I can see that I'm open in my bookmarks pane, and I can see up at the very top here, I can see my numbering scheme that's been applied up here. So it appears that everything's working, and it saved me a lot of time by using those actions. If you look in the bottom right corner, you also have a full report of what's taken place when the actions were executed, and you can go back if you'd like and review these. It just opens up in a web browser. To remove an action, I could come back out and end up out in my actions list here. One way to do this would be go to your Tools menu, and under Tools you'd want to come down and find the Action Wizard and open it up. And if you see Bates action here, you could run it again, or you could right click it and choose to edit the action, which would allow you to come back and add some more actions or remove or edits, or you could remove the action altogether, and then you're just right back to create another one.